So this is what I got after analyzing the best current pro player in tier 1 for Breach on Sunset, and that's f0rsakeN post duelist patch found from VLR. Honestly, there's not really much to say, like complicated stuff on Breach, so I'm just gonna be going over each of the util. But we're gonna go over some basics first, the Breach. So Jimmy, I noticed that you don't really utilize his aftershocks, right, a lot. It seems like you're panic throwing them and not in optimal positions. You wanna only be aftershocking to stall off enemies and to clear out spaces. Like, remember the Icebox premiere we played last week? You aftershock the B long flank like that in a super open space. This type of aftershock doesn't do anything. And it also prepares the enemy that you know they're there and you're watching it, and you're possibly gonna swing. With aftershocks, you only want to use it to again clear corners. So example case is like this aftershock. Not only does it stop the push right here,
right there,
but it clears out the left corner. So if you're playing elbow, if you're gonna play elbow to re-clear that, or if your elbow player is already inside elbow, it'll flush out that player into the open if they don't want to die to the aftershock, you know? Same thing with right here. It forces anyone behind that to flood out if they don't want to die. Now, second case of aftershock is when they push onto site. Not push, but when they push or execute anywhere, that's when you want to aftershock to stall it off. So, example case, you know, they're pushing B main. You hear a lot B main, they like running it down hard. You do aftershock over there. Same type of thing, it blocks that. But actually that's a pretty bad example. It's not really a hard choke right there. This one's really a good example. Like, if they're pushing you at all, if you notice they're pushing, then just aftershock. You just want to get that habit that whenever they start pushing up, just aftershock right away. So two more cases actually I forgot to note on the aftershock that you want to always do is you want to be aftershocking. If you still have your aftershock for when they're planning the bomb, you always want to be aftershocking. And you don't want to do it too early, because if you just aftershock that, then they're just gonna plant in another spot or wait, and it really doesn't do anything. You want to aftershock as soon as they start tapping. Honestly, if you're close enough to and it's not hectic enough, they want to aftershock a little bit after they start planning. That way they have to make the choice of whether they still want to plant the bomb and take damage, or to cancel it off and plant in another spot when your team is already more rotated, or to wait it out, you know? So it gives them a lot of pressure, and you're more likely to damage them or even possibly kill them if you're lucky. So you want to be aftershocking when they start planning a little bit after. Now the last case for the aftershock is whenever they do some type of dog utility, like Gecko ult, Skydog, Soba drone, you want to always use your aftershock to try to get a lucky hit on him. So you want to try to know where common places they're going to be doing that from. Like one's right here, for example, on the Sunset A main. A lot of people drone from there. Another common spots like this area, you just aftershock that. You always want to be trying to aftershock. If you hear that dog type of util right away, they want to try to aftershock them right away. If they react late enough, then they're gonna die. If you're lucky, you damage them, and it also cancels out their dog util because they need to exit it. Now, contrary to popular belief, but your role is honestly just to support your team, okay? Your kit, although is a lot, it seems like a lot of kill potential, because it is honestly. But your primary job is actually to support and push people back rather than to push onto them. whenever anyone's pushing up or a fight happens, you would just want to be supporting util. So that's primary reason. We'll go on to this a bit later, but this is primary reason why you're playing mid on most maps if we're not executing or planning, like you have a planned strat type of thing right away. You're just playing mid because you could support and fast rotate towards whichever side needs that support. Because your stun literally covers like half of the map, you know? So whenever your team's getting pushed, you want to do a flash to push them back, or a stun to push them back. Aftershock's more harder for team support in this case, but it's still possible occasionally. But you always want to be supporting your teammates like that. If a fight happens or if they're getting pushed on by anyone and you think they need that support, then give the support. Don't hang on to it. Don't wait for a call out, just do it, okay? Now flashes, 3 ways to use them, like what we just covered, to support someone from really far away. And the second one is obvious too. But you just flash to play off of it. Whenever you do that type of play, you want to flash super close if possible, because that makes it the hardest for them to turn the flash. Especially as breach flash, it's kind of hard. I mean, it's one of the easier flashes to dodge, especially more far out ways it goes. Because you see how slow that popped, right? Like, that was super slow. So you want to try to pop it semi-close. But of course, it doesn't matter how far it is if it's just a support blind, because it makes them turn. And if they don't turn, then they're blinded. So you still want to be supporting blind, even if you're like all the way across the map, if it's reachable. Now, the third one is actually execution type plays. So popular flash on A main is this area. And I'll cover this later, but you just flash. And your team pushes that for A space, stuff like that. Or maybe you're like pushing tiles and you do this type of flash, for example, for the tiles pusher. That's the third case. You're just doing flash plays, you know, on strats. Now for stuns, same thing as before. You want to be support stunning whenever you know there are people pushing towards part of the map you own, essentially, and to stall off pushes. And you also want to be stunning on the executions of trap plays from VLR. And I started to notice this very basic trend when I've been analyzing these maps, but breach, you're essentially just playing mid if you don't have a set play you're doing that round. So, like this area. And you're gonna start, you know, with these early engagements like usual, then back off towards the side. And that's really just your default positioning. And when you're on A site or B site, that's because you're gonna be playing with a teammate essentially, or doing like a set play type of thing. On A, the 2 spots you go at are right here to hold that stun line, or right here on elbow. As soon as the round starts, you're just gonna be holding your stun and pop that, and that's really to set up this omen one way to control A main. And for B site, you're really playing market on average, unless if you're pushing B main like that. And this is the B main stun they do. So B main's really just for trap plays, not for you to start at necessarily. And market's like also to execute on B main, to do that support stun and aftershock, but also just to play with a teammate and support on mid. It's pretty important for the breach player to be mid, I think, because they could, you know, support anyone across the map and fast rotate easier. Your stun literally reaches like half the map. So unless if you're doing a set play or playing with a teammate with that specific round with a plan in mind, you're gonna be just playing mid top. And again, this is universal for all maps, I think, because this is a trend I'm noticing. But these are some common ones I noticed they did-ish. I don't think these two are common as much. Well, this one's kind of common, but this one might have just been a support stun. So I'll go over this a little bit because there's spamming up. But with this one, if you're hard pushing into A main, you want to aftershock that to clear that corner. For mid, if you're pushing mid right away, and you're gonna do like a mid-bottom type of play, you want to stun this right side, and then do an aftershock right here. You could also just do this aftershock if you're playing towards market and you guys push out mid too. And you have like someone pushing down tiles, for example, that's pretty good aftershock. And if you are pushing tiles that round, the breach starts market in this case, and they always do this stun right here. Stun like that. And if they need more support util, they do a flash. And aftershock too. You might not even need to aftershock actually in this case, because if you have an entry type duelist rushing down tiles, they could probably get there before the enemy team could actually cross into there. Now, this one's same type of tiles play-ish. Sorry, not tiles play. This is if you're like pushing down mid with your team-ish. You guys are gonna like trap play mid and set off an execute. That's what that stands for if you're playing mid top position. We went over this stuff. If you're flanking, this is a stun. Oh wait, no, that's that's the wrong side. So if they're flanking, they do this aftershock and do a flash right here. It needs to be like on that line, so also blind spread to be main, you know. You want it to be kind of low, even though it could get blocked off by that pillar box. Because if you don't put it low enough, then the people playing close up aren't gonna get flashed at all. So you need to make sure about that. If you retreated from B main or market and you're on B site, this is a stun they do right here. They're just playing this area on B site, the right corner, and they're just really holding the stun for the execute. This stun right here is more a support stun. So, because I think they only did that once, but if you have defenders on CT already, and they want to flood retakes, you're already pretty stacked towards B side, you think you could take that fight, then you do that stun for them to walk out. These aftershocks are for the retake. If you think someone's on this left corner, do that aftershock. This aftershock's a really good flood retake aftershock they do. It clears out stairway and the right corner, forcing them out. It's very good on the flood retake again, because it's really common for them to plant stairway area. Also, this aftershock also prevents them from pushing backside and isolates the backside player for you to punch, you know, crunch on. They didn't do this aftershock ever, but I think one aftershock potentially you could do is that one. PRX didn't do this aftershock either, but it's very common for pro teams to aftershock this pillar right here on the retake, because everyone almost camps B main for sunset. Just smoke it off and spam the bomb, you know. This one's same type of mid support, but this is also a selfish type stun. So if you're playing mid top, you want to peek out, you do that stun and peek out basically. This aftershock, this is pretty good attack aftershock, but they did this aftershock because they're getting pushed from mid top. It's pretty good because it clears out both corners and pushes them back all the way. This stun again, if you're playing mid and they're pushing A, you want to stun the elbow like that. It's very good. This one, it's probably the most common stun you're going to be doing on average on Sunset. You're just going to be holding that stun line and have your teammates push up here and stun if they see anything, or stun to just take space, like guaranteed space. Or you could hold it for the trap play too. The flashes here, this flash is if they're playing on this side of the map, you know. They try to do it towards the left side and kind of high up. There's like a cover spot right here in the map. Actually, I could show you in the game. So there's a cover spot right here.
Right there.
They tried to flash it. Actually, it's
right there.
It might be that spot, one of these spots.
Flash out.
Yeah. So their breach flash is like one of these
right there
indent thingies right here.
Right there.
And I didn't know you could flash into this part,
right
so you
there.
gotta be careful, as it won't flash the enemy. So you gotta make sure you don't accidentally flash that spot. But you do want to flash so it has cover, that way it only blinds the enemies, but your teammates on elbow and
right
here
there.
won't get actually blinded by that. More for the elbow player though. If you're elbow, again you're just holding the stun. Usually if you're elbow, especially if you're by yourself here, because you're being split on an A main, you're just holding the stun as a round stun. Stun like that. If you think the flash is necessary, flash. Or you want to just flash out to clear it instead of the stun, that too. And this flash is if they're playing right side and trying to push out more. Okay, and this is a flash they do on the left. They actually make this flash go more like right here, so along the edge.
Right there.
And this is so against the people holding this line more. Or if they're trying to hold a trade right here, it flashes them too. If you flash right here, then they can just swing out for the anti-flash. Or for the trade. Or if they react fast enough to, they can just walk in cover and not get blinded. They wanna make sure you flash a little deep like that.
Flash out!
They also flash low. Don't flash
right there.
too high on these close flashes. The closer you flash to yourself, the faster the flash pops. And you also don't want it to go too high for someone potentially close up doesn't get blinded by that. And this is a very good aftershock to stall when they're pushing if you have to fall back. Or if you're just trying to stall the push. It blocks off this whole section right here and gets the left lurk corner. You can make them flood out. So if someone's stuck there too, you can make them flood out and your elbow players could